4 of you, 4 or 5. Okay, you can see the slide, right?
Yes, Doctor.
All right, okay, thank you. So, okay, without further delay, so let us proceed to our evening class, evening session, okay, for today's lecture. Again, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to all of you. So now we will continue with our next topic for today's class. So basically, later we will for this session we will cover on project monitoring and controlling, which is the second last topic. So basically, we actually have another topic which is project delay analysis. However, I think that one we will have a synchronous class where I will share the recorded lecture through e-learning, because that topic is simpler than the rest of the topic. So another thing is that we actually have a very limited time. So I think that's okay. Later I will share regarding that topic, which is our final topic. All right. Okay. For your information, up until now, the topic that involve calculations are project resource planning. You have some calculation for smoothing and leveling, and then you have calculation for project cash flow, which is cash flow forecasting. And then for our morning class just now, we have calculation for project crashing. Okay, basically that's the main topics that usually being covered in your final assessment. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to continue with this topic of project monitoring and controlling. Okay, semua okay ke? Dah makan ke? Okay semua?
Okay, Doctor.
Alright, okay. Okay, we will try to finish this topic for the evening session. Alright. So far, if we look at back to our lecture plan, we have covered this several topics, starting from project resource planning up until project time cost trade-off, which is the same with the project crashing. And then now we will continue, as I mentioned just now, we will continue to this one. We are currently on week 13, and C is referring to our topic, which is the third topic for this week. So we will proceed on project monitoring and controlling. And the other one we have, we also need to cover on project delay analysis. However, this topic is less what we call it's simple as compared to the rest of the topic, which involve several types of calculation. So for the final topic, I will continue the class by using a synchronous mode. So I will share the recorded lecture through e-learning platform. Okay. And about the rest of the assessments, which is also the same, I will update all of the information regarding the assessment through WhatsApp group or online e-learning platform. Okay, so now we will proceed to our today's evening session for topic of project monitoring and controlling. Okay, so basically For this topic, I will, as usual, I will cover on the theoretical first, meaning that the fundamental parts, and then at the end we will cover this. We will cover this a few calculation for how to use earned value analysis and also critical ratio for the monitoring and controlling purpose. All right. Okay, so as starting for this topic, I will give a brief overview for project monitoring and controlling, this one. Okay, so basically, if we look at back, this is basically what I have already shared with all of you regarding this figure or this diagram, where we have project objective, and then we have important resources. What are the important resources required for the project? And the other thing is that if we look at to this figure, basically we have these three main project objective. Okay, cost, time, and scope, as previously explained. All right. So I think no need for me to go in detail for this one. Okay. And then safety, health, quality, and also environmental compliance are the complementary objective that need to be considered by the developer or the contractor. And then in order for them to achieve, in order for them to comply to all of the requirements and to achieve the objective, so for sure they need the resources. Okay, as I think quite several times I already mentioned about 5M, which is referring to the resources: manpower, machinery, material, method, and also money, which is the cost of the project itself, are the main resources of the project. Okay, so the other thing is that what I want to relate here, because for all of these objective and how we want to utilize all of the resources, so that's why we need what we call several key activities of project management. Okay, so for this what we call for this dotted line or this circle, dotted circle. Okay, so we need to have input of various project management activities, key activities. Okay, for example, as just for a simple example, the starting activities or the first activities of project management is planning. Okay, planning, and then actually for the management itself, there are involved so many key activities. Okay, for example, we have planning, and then we have organizing. All right, and organizing and then staffing. Okay, how we manage the teamwork, how we manage the team in terms of how we employ the staff for the respected activities, and then the rest of the key activities are including communicating, which is communication, and we have so many branch of management which complement this whole project management. And apart from planning and scheduling, apart from all of these activities, at the end we have to what we call, at the end, once we do the plan, we conduct all the activities, and at the end we will need to do the monitoring key activities, and also at the end we have controlling also. So that's how this monitoring and controlling related to the project itself. Okay, when we should conduct and when should we carry out each of the key activities. So basically for the general management, apart from project management, we have so many key activities. However, for the project management itself, we have, for example, construction activities, we have from planning and until the controlling in terms of taking any corrective action if we face any deviation or any related problems. Okay, so we need the action plan and also corrective measure. Okay, that's how the key activities take place for the whole project management itself. In order at the end, the respective parties are able to achieve the project activities by securing and also utilizing appropriate quantity and also quality of the resources. All right. So that's the relationship of these what we call key activities among the key activities of project management, which are project monitoring and controlling. Okay. So the next one, that's the overview for project management, project monitoring and controlling. And then the next thing is I will cover, as usual, this is the just a general definition of the term itself. So basically, monitoring and controlling refers to different, what we call different definition. So I'm sure that all of you already familiar with this kind of key activities because for any activities or for any development or any project, we need to, by hook or by crook, we need to do this monitoring and controlling activities. Either it is direct or indirectly because these are the key activities that required for us to manage a certain project. All right. So basically, monitoring refers to the collecting, recording, and reporting any information which concerning project performance that project manager, sorry, there is some typo here, project manager and others wish to know. So that's why we do the monitoring activities. We need to monitor, we need to keep on tracking either especially in terms of project management, either the project progress itself on schedule, or we need to trace if there is any potential problems so that we can try to manage that problem itself, and we try to take the control action so that it will not lead to the bigger problem. All right. So that is about monitoring. And then how about controlling? So controlling itself basically will utilize or will apply the data from the monitoring activities in order to bring actual performance to the planned performance. So basically, based on the monitoring and also the tracking activities, if during the monitoring activities there are some what we call deviation or any potential problems which usually leads to the delay in terms of project progress. So the respective parties, either the project manager or the contractor themselves, use that data from the monitoring activities to make sure that the actual or the current progress will be tally to the planned performance or the planned progress. All right. So that's basically regarding the monitoring and controlling itself. All right. So the next one. Okay. So basically, this is also just overview and also just what we call concept and also the theoretical part of this topic. All right. So basically, what are the purpose of monitoring and controlling? This is just simply because we already know that actual situation usually don't always go according to the plan, regardless the extent of planning. Okay. So how intensive, how detailed our planning is, but most of the time there are some situations that are out of our control. So that's why the actual situation don't always go according to the plan. Okay, so that's why we always need to be prepared with the monitoring and controlling activities. All right. So the purpose is that as I mentioned just now, we conduct these activities, the key activities to detect and to react appropriately to any deviation or changes of the plan. Okay, so that later on it will not severely affect the schedule or severely affect the master program itself. Okay. Okay, we can just try to take any suitable corrective action instantly. Okay, and then the next one is related to the, sorry, that one is why we do the monitoring and controlling. So that's the first. The next one is what are the component, what are to be monitored and to be controlled. Okay, so basically there are several components that need to be properly monitored and controlled in terms of its progress and performance. Okay, basically this involve for sure this involve resources. As usual, it is refers to 5M. All right. So basically, we need to monitor, we need to control the resources itself, which involve all of this manpower until the cost itself, so that all of the plan activities, all of the plan budget will be on track. Okay. Apart from these main resources of the project, we also need to monitor and control the condition of the site itself, with referring to the space, working space. Okay, for example, here we have construction site. So that's why there is what we call, there is a branch of management which is site management. So we need to properly manage the working site or working place, so that we will have a better management, and also the what we call the condition of site itself, so that it will ensure a smooth project progress. Okay, so basically there are many other what we call factors contribute to the proper site management. And then in terms of time, for sure, we will monitor in terms of working shift or duration, meaning that the project completion duration. So it's more on the physical monitoring of that specific activity. All right. And the other thing related to the quality or technical performance. Okay, this one also it is very essential, because as we know, quality itself is one of the main project objective. So that's why there should be a proper monitoring and controlling for the quality aspect. So at the end, the contractor can deliver the best performance of the works to the client. Okay. That's regarding the components, and basically all of this related to the inputs of the project monitoring and controlling. And for sure we have the outputs. So basically outputs for monitoring and controlling, we will have the physical progress report, which include the work start and completion. And besides, we also can have or can provide the financial progress report, which include all the detailed costs and the what we call project cash flows. All right. And the other thing is that if there are some changes regarding the design or engineering changes, so by having proper monitoring and controlling, we will keep on tracking on these changes. And basically for the outputs of these key activities, we will also have the variation order, okay, which is VO. All right. So that's what relates to the what should be what item that we should monitor and control. Okay, so basically this is a continuation to the previous one. What project monitoring and controlling can be divided basically into two main types, which is physical and also financial. Whereas physical monitoring and controlling are carried out periodically, measuring the actual completion of the activities, okay, and milestone. So that's why it's called as physical, because we want to track the progress of the works. And then for the financial, it usually relates to the cost itself. Also, we have the cost that we need to monitor and control. And then for the physical monitoring, we need to compare actual completion of activities and milestone against the schedule. Okay. The financial monitoring, we need to compare actual effort, cost, staffing, and so on to the estimates. Okay, we need the estimates and budget documented in the project plan. So we can monitor both the condition of physical and financial progress. Okay. And the other thing is that physical monitoring and controlling can be helps in identifying significant deviation from the schedule estimates in the project plan, because this is more on physical part. And for the financial, of course, it related to the cost and the budget. So any significant deviation for both schedule and budgets can be detected and identified throughout the project progress. Okay. So basically, the early subtopics covering more on the fundamental parts. Okay. The next one is when should we conduct the project monitoring and controlling. So basically, what is the timeline or duration and the frequency to conduct this monitoring and controlling? It's actually depending on project manager itself or the project planner themselves. They want to do these activities regularly. So for sure, this regular monitoring and controlling, it's actually a best option, because by having the regular and continuous monitoring and controlling will help uh, to detect any potential problems instantly. So they have a sufficient time to conduct any corrective measure or any initiative to make sure the division get back to the actual progress track. Okay, and sometimes project monitoring and controlling will be conducted at the end of the project and during the task completion for each of the activities. All right. Besides that, project monitoring and controlling also can be carried out as soon as possible, and it is what we call it will be conducted instantly. Maybe for the certain case, it will be conducted once the what we call the problems already will meaning that the potential problem already being detected, so they need to do the control as soon as possible. And it also based on the logic, because all of this depends on the situation and depends on the scope of the activities. Okay, for example, for the complex activities which is require detailed monitoring and controlling, so that one require regular or continuous monitoring and controlling. Okay, so if anything happen, so it is easier for the respected parties to do the corrective action. Okay. Right. So, where is the location for monitoring and controlling? Okay. So basically, it is according to the situation or scope of work itself. So it can be done at head office, and also if there is a meeting at the site office. So the project monitoring and controlling can be what we call can be carried out directly at the site office, which is it is usually on the spot, all right, during the what we call frequent meeting, maybe weekly meeting or monthly meeting. Okay, so all of basically the location itself is according to the situation. Okay. All right, before I proceed with the methods and documentation, so far is it okay? Or any of you have anything to share regarding these key activities of monitoring and controlling? Okay. Anyone would like to share something? If there is nothing to share, it's okay. We will proceed to the next one. Okay. Is it okay, everyone, so far?
Okay, Doktor. So far, so good.
All right. Okay. Thank you. And then the next one we have, okay. There are basically several methods and also some documentation that are related to the project monitoring and controlling. So basically, most common method, this what we call these activities are being carried out during the meetings with clients, parties who involved in the project. Okay, so maksudnya between the contractor or the supplier themselves with the clients. So anyone who are the main person related to the project itself will sit down in the same meeting. So they will discuss and they will try to monitor and try to discuss any control or any action plan in regards to the specific problems or specific deviation of the project progress. Okay. So in terms of what we call in terms of documentation or reports, so basically this project monitoring and controlling requires the main item is that schedule. So either we need to update the CPA per charts and also update the Gantt charts. Okay, so basically Gantt chart itself or the schedule of master work program is the main item or document that very necessary for the project in order for the respected parties to do the monitoring and controlling. So in overall, all of the what we call key activities and also the related document is actually essential throughout the project stages or project key activities. Okay, so they can monitor the milestone of the project and refer to any reports, okay, progress reports, and also any documentation related to the test and inspection are very necessary because that one they will do the checking in terms of, especially in terms of quality itself, either they comply or not the minimum requirement as been specified in order for the contractor to deliver the project to the client in a manner include which consider good quality and all the what we call all the requirements specified at the early stage. Okay, so that's why we need all these sort of reports, test and inspection data. In terms of what we call delivery, it is either delivery or staggered delivery. It is depending on the project. And then the other thing is that regarding the monitoring and controlling, we can update the project management information system, which is also varies according to the company itself or the organization itself for them to update their own management system. Okay, that's how that's are the methods and also related documentation for project monitoring and controlling. Okay, the next one. Okay, so just now we have covered up until the first subtopic, which is overview of monitoring and controlling. Okay, the purpose, we needed the reason why we conduct these activities and components that need to be monitored and controlled, and then where should we conduct these activities, and when and what is the frequency to do these key activities, and last one, the methods and also the documentation, related documentation. Okay, now for the second subtopic, we will cover on basically the detailed methods of monitoring. Okay. Okay, basically, there are 4 different methods of monitoring. So basically, it consists of time measurement method. The second one, cost measurement, and the other two we have labor time measurement and also work quantity. Okay, so I will try to cover in brief each of these methods of monitoring. Okay. So for this first one, we have time measurement. Okay, for the time measurement method, basically it is one of the commonly used method among the other methods of labor. Just now we have labor time measurement, cost, and also work quantity. So among all of this method, it is a common method being used where we need agreement from both party, meaning that from the contractor side and also client side. Okay, if we refer to these, both of these, what we call Gantt chart and also physical S-curve. So basically, for the time measurement, we will have this kind of Gantt chart which indicate the at the bottom part we can keep on monitor the time or the duration for the each activity to be accomplished or to be completed. Okay, that's why it is called as time measurement, because we are focusing on the time, we are focusing on the duration of each of the activities, and based on this, we will have the physical S-curve, and this actually physical S-curve, we have discussed this on in our previous lecture. So physical S-curve, it is directly related to the duration because it is physically monitored. Okay, so it related to duration, to the time for the activities to be completed. So if we try to recall, we have 2 types of S-curve, which are physical and also financial S-curve. So for the first methods of monitoring, which is time measurement, so we are focusing on the physical S-curve. All right. And then besides that, for the time measurement, we are focusing on the physical progress of the works, of the activities itself, in order to detect any delay of the works or activities. Okay, so basically, this the example of activity monitoring. This is just a screenshot from the planning and also from the monitoring software. So we actually can do the automated monitoring and also controlling. So here, if we can see here that there are 12 weeks of the duration for this project. So basically, they are tracking or they are monitoring on the week 4 and also week 8. So basically, based on this, what we call based on this system or this tracking, we can we can track what's actually the current achievement or the current progress based on the um, based on this plan and also schedule activities. Okay. Um, Based on this monitoring, as I mentioned previously, we can track whether each of these activity are completed on time or they are ahead or behind the schedule. So if it is ahead of schedule, so it will not be any problem. However, in case of behind the schedule, that one will potentially leads to the delay issues. Okay, so later on I will share basically the techniques or the methods that can be used for the monitoring and controlling calculation. Okay, and then for the next one, we have this one, the second one. The second method of monitoring, we have cost measurement. So basically, apart from time measurement method, we have this cost measurement, which is most popular method used by the contractors. Okay, apart from the time, this one also most popular because the contractor will use this method to monitor the financial progress of the work. So basically, this second method refers to the financial monitoring, which is basically use the financial S-curve as compared to the previous one, focusing on the physical S-curve. All right. So as we can see here at this bar chart, basically in overall it is quite similar. However, for this one, instead of duration at the bottom part, we have the cost here. Okay, which is divided based on the month or week itself. Okay, so at the end we have the total what we call total cost, and then for the similarly for the financial curve, we can track the cash flow of the project, the requirement at a certain time. Okay, how much is the cost has been used by the contractor? What are the amount that need to be prepared by them in order for them to carry out the specific activities? Okay. So basically, this is the second method. And the next one, we have labor measurement. Okay, for this method, it is require user to identify labor requirements such as man hours, man days, or man weeks. So basically, it is focusing on the manpower itself or the labor. Okay, so basically, labor is one of the important resources for the project. Okay. The other thing is that the value can be distributed prorated as cost method as the previous method. However, the value adjustment can be made according to the productivity. Okay, so any adjustment to the value should be in accordance to the productivity of the work itself. Okay, similarly to the method number 4, which is work quantity. It is only suitable for certain organizations that plan the work or activity which is limited to a particular type, for example, earthwork, spray tile, ceiling, and etc. And for these two requirements, it's just the same to the previous labor time measurement method, where the value can distributed prorated as the second method of cost. And then the value adjustment can be made according to the productivity. So in total, we have these 4 type of work quantity measurement. Okay, so for today, I will just give you a brief overview and brief introduction. What's actually all these methods are. Okay, all right. So now that's so far we have covered these 2 subtopics. Now we will move to the next one. The next subtopics is regarding the project control cycle. Okay. So basically, project control cycle, we will cover on what's actually the main cycle, which related to the control itself. All right. So basically, project control cycle is related to the several key activities of basically we can refer it as a PDCA cycle, where this PDCA refers to the plan, do, check, and act cycle. Okay, so at the early stage, we need to plan, and then we do mean that we carry out any related works, and then we do the checking here. So basically, checking is just similar to the monitoring. We can check and we can monitor all the required activities, and then act is referred to the control. Okay. So basically, for the first phase or the first activities plan, there are several what we call several items or several documents are related for the planning purposes, such as the most common one, we need the specification of the project of the activities itself, and then for sure we need the project schedule and also the budgeting of the project, so that we can properly have a good schedule and also chart for that specific project. And also we try to plan the project budget, and then we also need to have the resources planning. So that's why as I mentioned before, all of the key activities fall under project management are interrelated, because that one related to the time management. Okay, time management, or what we call time planning. Okay, we need to plan and we need to manage. And then for the budget, it's fall under the cost planning or cost management. And this one for sure for resources management. So there are several types of key activities for each of the project or any development. Okay. And then we also need the vendor contracts. Okay, we need to properly compile all of the required documents during the planning stage. And then for the do or the where we carry out where is where is the stage that we need to carry out the works, we need to compare the actual status against the plan of the schedule. Okay, schedule, both in terms of physical and financial progress. Okay, that's one for the do cycle. And move towards the next cycle, which is the check. Okay, so the monitoring activities fall under this cycle. So we can monitor the record status, progress, and cost. Any related status, progress, or anything that need to be monitored will be carried out during this cycle. And the last one for the act or action, which involve the control activities, where we need to do the we need to carry out the action plan in order for us to correct any deviations from from the plan. Okay. So any changes, any deviation of the from the schedule will be corrected here. And then for certain case, we need to replan as necessary. Okay, that's how the what we call the overview for PDCA cycle. And when actually these two activities of monitoring and controlling appear or involve at this during this cycle. Okay. All right. The next one. Okay. So another just a brief overview regarding the project control. So basically, this project control are the process and also activities needed to correct deviations from the plan. Okay. So that's actually is the what's actually is the project control. Okay, so most of the time we try to control the triple constraint, which is the most common constraints for any development or for any project. There are including time, which is schedule. So basically, this is directly related to the physical constraint, which may affect physical performance. And then this one for sure related to the financial. So financial constraint must be properly controlled. So at the end, there will be no major problems related to the financial progress, financial performance of the specific project itself. Okay. And then the other things is related to the performance. So basically, it's performance or technical performance of the certain project, usually related to the quality itself. So they have to control this constraint in terms of specification, testing results, and other related reports. Okay, so that's about the project control. Okay. Okay, the next thing. Okay, so far we have covered these three subtopics. So basically, later on, I will cover on techniques for monitoring and controlling. So basically, there are what we call two main methods for monitoring and controlling, such as these two common methods, earned value analysis and also critical ratio. So before I proceed to the next subtopic, do all of you want break or we just continue? Is it okay, everyone?
Continue, okay, Doctor?
Okay, all right. So we just continue. Okay, for the next one, I will give explanation regarding this techniques for monitoring and controlling. Okay. Okay, so basically, for these techniques for monitoring and controlling, there are two main or two common methods have been practiced. The first one is earned value analysis and the second one is critical ratio. Okay, so based on these techniques, we can track the performance of the project itself in terms of physical and also financial. Okay, so for the first method, earn value, or for the first techniques on the earn value analysis, so basically these techniques it's related to the how to measure the overall performance instead of individual tasks. So basically, these techniques focusing on the overall performance of the project instead of the individual works or individual activities related to the project. So that's the keyword. It will measure the overall performance. Okay. And apart from that, we need to use an aggregate performance. Okay, that's why it is refers to the overall performance. Okay, and the other thing is that earned value itself refers to the value of completed works or activities. Okay, that's why earn refers to the completed. All right. That's the what we call the introduction for these techniques. And then for the second one, we have critical ratio. Because later on, we will try to go through each of these techniques. Okay. Okay. Basically, for critical ratio, it calculates a set of critical ratio for all project activities. Especially this technique can be used or will be applied for large project. Okay, so any project with large scope and with large complexity, and then it is suitable to apply these techniques for monitoring and controlling. Okay, the next one, I think we can go through each of these techniques. Okay, so basically that's just a brief overview for each of the technique. Okay, for the first technique, which is earned value analysis. Okay, so basically for the earned value analysis itself, there are several methods of for estimating percent completion. All right, so basically here, as we can see, there are four main methods fall under the earned value analysis. Okay, the first one is 50-50 estimate. So meaning that we just assume 50% 50% is assumed one task is begun. So maksudnya bila dah starting works or activities tu dah dah start, then we assume 50%, and the rest of 50% will be assumed when work completed. That's how we do the 50-50 estimate. All right, and then the second one, we have 0 to 100% rule. So basically, this method allow no credit for work until task is complete. So as compared to the previous one, this what we call the second method is quite stringent, is quite strict, because there is no credit for the work until it is being done. Okay, so basically it is highly conservative rule, okay, as compared to the previous one. And then the third methods that we have is critical input rule. So for this method, we can assign progress according to the amount of critical input. Okay, most of the time it is resources dependent, either through the manpower or the machinery itself. Okay, so that's why it is critical input of resources to be included to this what we call to this method. Okay, and then the last one we have the proportional rule, where we need to divide planned time to date by total scheduled time, cost to date. Okay, sorry. We need to divide planned time to date by total scheduled time, and then the other thing, we can divide the cost to date by total budgeted cost in order to calculate the percentage of completion. So basically, proportional rule, we can do some simple calculation by do the division. All right. So basically, that's these are the four methods, common methods for estimating percent of completion. So again, this is just a brief overview. Okay, if you like to have more information regarding this, you can try to explore in detail each of this estimate, each of this method. Okay, so basically this is just for our overview and just for our additional knowledge for the regarding the methods for estimating percent completion. All right. The next thing we have, okay. Okay, if we go back to the earned value analysis, the most important thing is that we need to focus on the basis of cost and performance to date evaluation. Okay, so basically, we need to focus on the evaluation basis in order for us to apply this earned value analysis. All right. So basically, I think maybe some of you already familiar with this kind of what we call this kind of method, which is earned value analysis. So these two terms, uh, which are refers to the budget at completion (BAC) and also EAC refers to the estimated cost at completion, are the main evaluation basis for earned value analysis. So BAC is referring to the baseline cost to completion, and whereas the second one, EAC, refers to actual cost to date. All right. Okay. Apart from that, there is a need to identify the variance. So basically, the identification of these variants are based on the first one is for sure we need to base on negative value, because negative value for the variance identification, it represent the bad poor value. And then the second one, cost and schedule variance are calculated as earned value minus some other measures. Okay. So later on, I will show the related calculation for this earned value analysis. Okay. All right. So basically, this is the basis of cost performance to date evaluation. As I mentioned just now, we have this budget at completion, which represented by this sorry okay, by this blue graph plotting. Okay, this one we have, okay, this one represent BSC, and this red color line represent the ESC. So basically, variance at completion VSC is the output of BSC minus the ESC. Okay, so basically this is referring to the variance at completion. Okay, and we have the rest of the indicator that I will share later on. Okay, so basically this is how the view of earned value analysis. Okay. The next one we have several types of variance which are related to the earned value analysis. Okay, so basically these types of variance we need to do the deduction. Okay, so basically there are three main types of variance. The first one is cost, and the second one is schedule, which is related to the duration and the time. Sorry, the schedule variance are related to the budgeted cost of work performed. Okay, and then we have time variance related to the scheduled time of work performed. Okay, so basically these variance are CV, SV, and TV are related to this one. So for example, cost variance, we need to consider these two item. The first one is BCWP, budgeted cost of work performed, to be minus with ACWP, all right, actual cost of work performed. And in order for us to do the analysis, for example, uh, if the output that we obtain is in negative value, so it refers that So meaning that the performance of that specific activity or work has what we call occur in terms of cost overrun. So there is a problems in terms of cost overrun. Okay, for this particular cost variant. And then the next one for the schedule variance, which is similar to the cost variant. However, we need to the deduction from the BCWP with the budgeted cost of work schedule, which is BCWS. So once we divide these two values and still we get the negative value, so it refers that that specific activities are behind the schedule. Okay, so meaning that there is a delay in terms of work progress. Okay, which is similar to this one. This one is behind schedule more on the cost, in terms of cost, as compared to this one. Okay, for the next one, for the third one, we have time variance. So basically, times variance quite differ from the previous two variance. We need to consider STWP, schedule time, and also actual time, so that at the end we can monitor. Okay, we can track at either the progress are on track or face any issues. Okay, so all of this negative value will represent usually a poor condition or bad condition of the project progress. Okay, all right, so far that's regarding the types of variance. So for all of this we need to do deduction, right? And then the next one we also have index ratio for the earned value analysis. All right, for the as compared to the previous one, for the variance in terms of index ratio, we need to do the division. All right, similarly they have the cost, schedule, and also time performance index. So they have CPI, SPI, and also TPI. Okay. Okay. The only difference is that as compared to the variance, we just apply the same, what we call the same item. However, we just need to divide. For example, for the SPI, we just divide BCWP divide with ACWP. Okay, so later on we can monitor and we can evaluate the data. Okay, similarly to the rest of the index ratio of schedule and time, we just do the division of the previous item. Okay, all right. Okay, before we proceed with the question, so far, is it clear to all of you regarding this project monitoring and controlling?
Doctor, that's mean the earned value analysis we used to measure performance using cost and schedule lah.
Betul.
Okay.
So now we will continue on the sample questions for earned value analysis. Okay, if we look at to this question, it is stated that we can assume the operation on a work package, which is basically the example for the simple project, cost about 1,500 to complete. And then they were originally scheduled to finish by today. So at this point, it's stated that the current expenditure is about 1,350. And then it is estimated that the current completion is about 2/3 of the work. So what are the cost and schedule variance? All right. So basically, what we need to do is that we can apply the variance formula. So both for cost variance and also schedule variance. So for the uh, cost variance, we need to include the BCWP budgeted cost of work performed, deduct with the actual cost work performed. All right. So the budget cost is this one. Okay. The actual cost ACWP will be this 1,350, and before we deduct these two amount, the BCWP need to be times with the percentage of completion. All right, the amount of completion. So at the end, we have this negative value. Okay. Similarly to the schedule variance. So at the end, we have these negative negative values which refer to the uh, poor progress or poor performance of this work package. Okay. So the other thing we also can calculate the, just now we have this index ratio. Okay. So as we can see that similarly we just include the same values, however with different what we call, the first one we have the deduction, and the second one we need to do the division. Okay. So basically this is just a simple question regarding the cost and schedule variances. And then as an analysis for the sample question 1. So it's basically spending higher than budget, and given what we have spent, and we are not as far along as we should be. So that meaning that they have not completed as much work as they should have completed. Okay, they should have done. Okay, so it is also possible to have one of the indicators to be favorable while the other are unfavorable. So meaning that based on the earned value analysis, there are several performance indicators that can be used. So basically, if there are negative, what we call negative values, so for sure it referring to the poor performance. Okay. And then based on the analysis, it can be ahead of the schedule or and behind the cost. All right. So that's depending on the analysis itself. Okay. All right. The second. Okay. Basically, regarding the earned value analysis itself, there are several possibilities of the earned value analysis. Okay. For the first one, we have what we call this as we can see here that for A we have positive CV, both positive SV and CV, with the baseline in the middle. All right. For the second one, also both what we call, both are positive. However, the baseline is lower than both BCWP and also ACWP. And then the rest of the situation or the rest of the possibilities refers to the both negative, meaning that okay, for example here, if we refer back, if positive CV and positive SV and positive CV, so meaning that they are both ahead in terms of schedule and also the cost. For this one, they only ahead in terms of the cost instead of the schedule. And then for this one, both are behind the schedule because both values are negative. Okay. Similar, not the same. Okay, for the fourth possibilities, where the only budget what we call only budget ahead of the schedule, but still the duration or the time still behind the schedule. Okay, sorry. And then for the other two situation or the possibilities, one of them is negative and the other one is positive. So based on this, basically what we call only if this one the cost sorry the cost, both cost and schedule, sorry, this one only schedule behind the baseline, and this one schedule is ahead of the baseline. So in overall, there are 6 possibilities of earned value analysis. Okay, so all of this can be obtained if we do this calculation. We can trace from here, both for CV and SV, cost and schedule variance. All right. Okay, so basically these 6 possibilities is a combination of both schedule and cost variance. Either it is both positive or negative, or either one of them is negative. Okay, and then proceed to the sample question number 2. Okay, for the sample question number 2, it is related to a project to develop a country park, has an actual cost, okay, actual cost in month 11 of 350,000, a planned cost of 475,000, and a value completed of 300,000. Okay, what we need to find is that we need to calculate both variance of cost and schedule, and also these 3 indexes. Okay, we need to have to calculate CV, SV, and then we have to index of, let me double check. Okay, this one we need to calculate all of this index, CPI, SPI, and also TPI. All right. Okay, based on this information, we can do the calculation and can do the analysis. All right. So basically, it is already given that the information here, the BCWS budgeted cost of work performed and work schedule is 475, and budgeted cost of work performed is 300,000. And actual cost of work performed is around 350,000. Okay, then we just do the calculation. We include all of these input, all of this amount to the related formula, and we try to calculate each of these variance and also the indexes or indicator. Okay, for the first one, we have negative CV and also negative SV. In terms of CPI, SPI, and also TPI, we have what we call value, which is less than 1. Okay, so based on this, we can obtain all of the what we call, we can analyze the and earn value itself, meaning that the completed work itself based on the indicator of variances and also indexes. Okay, so hopefully all of you can calculate all of these both variance and also indexes. Especially, I think this earned value analysis to be included also in the final assessment. So you just apply all the related formula or equation for the purpose to answer all of these question. Okay, I think that's all regarding the earned value analysis. Okay, basically they are just quite straightforward. Okay, they only involve a simple calculation by deduction and also by division of the related item. Okay, either BCWS or BCWP. So it is depending on the variance, type of variance or type of index itself. All right. The next one, basically this is our last part of this what we call this topic. Okay, we will proceed to the critical ratio. All right. So critical ratio is another techniques for monitoring and controlling. Okay, basically, sometimes, especially large project, it may be worthwhile calculating a set of critical ratios for all activities. All right, as I mentioned previously, critical ratios techniques is more suitable for large project. Okay, they will consider any critical ratios for the activities. Okay, so basically, these are the equation or the formula for the critical ratio calculation. So we need to consider actual progress divided by scheduled progress, and we need to time this to parameter to the budgeted cost over the actual cost. All right. So at the end, if we obtain the ratio, which is the one, which is the perfect ratio, so everything is probably on target. However, the further away the ratio from this value, the more we may need to investigate. So, meaning that is equal to the perfect ratio because it is 1:1. So everything on its place, on its track. However, if it is further away from this value, so basically there is some potential problems that we need to investigate and control. Okay, so basically it is just an indicator for us to do the corrective action. Okay, so basically this is the sample question for critical ratio. Okay, for the critical ratios, basically you will be provided with all of these information, including types of activities, actual progress in this, basically in this, and then we have scheduled progress also in this, and then this is basically the duration or time. And then we have the cost element here, budgeted and also actual cost. And then by applying this formula, we can able to have this critical ratio. So basically, as we can see here that there are various value of the ratios. Okay, some of them are equal to 1, and the rest of the values are less than and greater than 1. Okay. Okay. I will proceed with the analysis of what's actually this ratio refers to. Okay, as we can see, continue to the previous question 1. So, based on these results obtained for each of the activity, meaning that the ratio, critical ratio for each of the activity. For example, activity 1, activity A with 1.5, activity B also 1.5 of critical ratio. So this one 1.5, B 1.5. Okay. So the possibility of this activity that it can be on schedule, however below on budget. And the other thing is that since it got the same amount, especially for this activity B, vice versa, it can be on budget. It's not vice versa, meaning that the other possibility that activity B can be on budget and ahead of the schedule. So that's the possibility based on the critical ratio indicator for A and B. And how about C? We have 1. So C1, sorry, I think there is some mistake here. Maybe this one can be behind schedule but below budget. It's for activity B, and this one for activity C. I will double check on this because I think there is some mistake here. Okay, so if the indicator if 1 is equal to 1, so it is the what we call the ideal condition of that progress of this for the specific work. And then for the activity E, D and E, we have the indicator or the ratio of less than 1. So it can be what we call on budget but physically progress lagging. So mean that it just have a good progress either in terms of financial, which is the budget, but there is problems in terms of it physical progress. And what we call for then it can be vice versa. Either it can be better in budget, however, poor in the better in terms of schedule, however, poor in terms of cost. So basically, all of these techniques of project monitoring and controlling will give you an indicator how that specific monitored activities, what we call the condition of specific activities itself. So we can use this technique as an indicator for us to monitor and control the specific project. Okay. So up until now, I think that's all regarding both techniques. All right. So I think we have no more. Okay. No more subtopics to be covered for project monitoring and controlling. However, we have the other topic. Basically, this is just a minor topic. However, I will just share this topic through a synchronous class. I will share this what we call the lecture through e-learning, and together with all the lecture materials such as notes and the sample question. Okay, for our last or the final topic of project delay analysis. Okay, so I think that's all for our today's class.